Hello and welcome to the news in English from Đồng Nai radio and television station. Here are the main contents of today's news. On April the 21st, Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Phạm Bình Minh welcomed U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Antony Blinken on the occasion of his working visit to Vietnam. At the meeting, Mr. Blinken said the United States really appreciate the visit to Vietnam by President Barack Obama, which is scheduled at the end of this May. At the meeting, Deputy Prime Minister Phạm Bình Minh and Deputy Secretary Antony Blinken have discussed measures to boost the U.S.-Vietnam relations in the coming time, especially the coordination between the two countries' foreign ministry to organize a visit to Vietnam by President Obama in May. Deputy Secretary Blinken asserted the U.S. leadership regarded the visit to Vietnam by President Obama one of the most important diplomatic events of the U.S. in 2016. Through the visit, Mr. Obama looked forward to strengthening comprehensive cooperation between the two countries and learn more about the culture, history, and people of Vietnam. Deputy Secretary Blinken asserted the United States supported the peaceful resolution of the disputes in the East Sea on the basis of international law, including the Convention on the Law of the Sea of 1982 and the Declaration on the Conduct of Parties in the East Sea, as well as claims by the U.S. and ASEAN leaders in February 2016. Hello and welcome to the news in English from Đồng Nai radio and television station. Here are the main contents of today's news. On April the 21st, Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Phạm Bình Minh welcomed U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Antony Blinken on the occasion of his working visit to Vietnam. At the meeting, Mr. Blinken said the United States really appreciate the visit to Vietnam by President Barack Obama, which is scheduled at the end of this May. Also on the U.S.-Vietnam relationship, the U.S. State Department on April the 21st informed on April the 25th in Washington the 20th U.S.-Vietnam Dialogue on Human Rights take place. The U.S. delegation attending this dialogue is led by Assistant Secretary of State in charge of Human Rights, Democracy and Labor, Tom Malinowski, while the Vietnam delegation is led by Director of the Department of International Organizations, Ministry of Foreign Affairs Vũ Quang Anh. The dialogue will address a wide range of human rights issues, such as the importance of maintaining the evolution of legal reform efforts, legal rights, freedom to express personal views and hold meetings, freedom of religion, rights of workers, the disabled, people who are LGBT, multilateral cooperation, as well as a number of other issues. The announcement said promoting human rights continue to be an important part of the U.S. foreign policy. At the same time, a key content of the U.S. in the dialogue within the framework of the comprehensive U.S.-Vietnam partnership. Now we turn to other notable news. On April the 21st, the monitoring group of the National Assembly Standing Committee, led by Comrade Nguyễn Thiện Nhân, Chairman of the Central Committee of the Vietnam's Fatherland Front, Vice President of the National Electoral Council, had a meeting with Thống Nhất District in Đồng Nai Province about the preparation work for the local elections. Giving the conclusive speech, Mr. Nguyễn Thiện Nhân acknowledged and appreciated the results achieved by Thống Nhất District, especially when the preparation work of the district are closely done. The quality of candidates for deputies to the People Council at district and commune levels this term is quite high. The propaganda about the elections to the people is implemented in depth. Acknowledging the results achieved by the district, but Mr. Nguyễn Thiện Nhân also noted in order to make the elections on May the 22nd an actual festival of the whole population, the district should promote propaganda, create favorable conditions for the candidates to deputies of the People Council at all levels to contact voters, ensure security before, during, and after the election day. After finishing the trip to the Middle East, U.S. President Barack Obama on April the 21st continued his trip to London with the task of convincing the UK's voters not to abandon the role as an EU member through the referendum which Washington fears that could weaken the West. British Prime Minister David Cameron welcomed President Obama at the airport. Mr. Cameron advocates to keep the UK an EU member. According to Reuters, during a visit to the UK this time, President Obama is expected to call on British people to vote to stay in the EU in order to ensure prosperity of the UK, as well as maintain a special relationship with the US and the tie with the West. Today, President Obama will have lunch at Windsor Castle with Queen Elizabeth II. Later, he will talk with Mr. Cameron. On April the 21st, the United Nations envoy to Syria, Stephen de Mistura, said the peace talks in Geneva, Switzerland, will continue to be held next week, though the main opposition force of Syria has decided to abandon the negotiations. Mr. Mistura emphasized the need to continue the peace talks, extend the ceasefire, and will require the sponsoring countries to meet for discussions. The recent round of negotiations was launched on April the 13th, but has not obtained the result. At the talks, the Democrats delegation urged the establishment of a government of national unity and did not accept the request by the opposition asking President Bashar al-Assad to resign. That's all for the news in English for today. Thanks for joining us and goodbye.